My name's Geary. I'm a marine biologist and PADI dive instructor, and I go by the name Dr. Frogfish, and I teach a PADI distinctive frogfish specialty along the Dauin coast and in the future in Indonesia.
Why have you chosen this coast, Dauin to Magete, for frogfish base?
I chose Dauin specifically because there's so many here. I've been diving here for about 7 or 8 years, and every year there's been more and more, and I realized that the more you look, the more you find. And if I want to study frogfish and pursue frogfish as a career, then Dauin has to be the place I need to be.
So how many frogfish species can you find here?
In Dauin you can find at least 11 species, probably 12 or 13, but a couple of them haven't been confirmed yet, but people have said they've seen them. But there's 4 main ones, about 4 medium rare ones, and then 4 that are extremely rare.
And is there a season where you can find more here?
The best time to find frogfish here is between around December and June or July, but April, May, June is normally the best time frame.
Tell us about your Frogfish course.
All right, so in my Frogfish course, there's a classroom session, and that entails pretty much everything there is to know about frogfish, from the earliest scientists, from distribution, life history, habitat, eating, moving, mating, and specifically at the end, species identification. After this classroom session, we do 2 dives together underwater. First, we got to find the frogfish. So far, we have a 100% success rate in the course, over 120 students certified. Every course has had a frogfish. When we find them, we measure them, identify them underwater if we can, watch for behavior, and then we have a nice debriefing at the end where we go through all of our photos and identify every frogfish we saw as the final exam.
This is a PADI accredited specialty course, is that what you call it?
Yes, it's a distinctive specialty, and what happens is once you have 25 certs as a PADI instructor, you're allowed to submit your own specialty. And I wrote this for about a year, got my certs up, submitted it, and I've been teaching it for about 4 or 5 years, over 100 students certified. I'm here because you can see a frogfish at a dive site year-round, and we're talking some dive sites we've seen 30 in 1 hour, and I've never heard of that anywhere else. So if you really want to see frogfish, I'd recommend planning your vacation for April, May, or June, and hit me up on Instagram at Dr. Frogfish or some of the resorts here on the coast, and come take my course and learn even more about frogfish than you knew there was to know.
Dad's not kidding. There are frogfish everywhere. From giant frogfish to clown frogfish, painted frogs, and more. Nearly every dive brings more and more sightings of frog species. It's no wonder that this is a hot spot for biologists. Now, I love frogfish as much as the next guy, but this next one is at the top of my list for Dauin. It took a lot of searching, but I finally got to see one. The elusive hairy frogfish. After dozens of dives all down the coast, my guides finally found the holy grail of all Philippines frogfish. My guides from Atmosphere Dive Resort must be expert critter hunters, because they found this tiny guy out in the barren sands. As you can see here, he's about as big as my fingertip. He's so tiny that I can't even see any features or what he's doing with my naked eye. But I set the camera on a tripod and wait, hoping the macro lens catches something that I can't see. What I see later on the footage is amazing detail of my very first hairy frogfish. If there are any passing divers, they probably think it odd that I have a big camera, tripod, and video lights aimed at what looks like empty sand. But in reality, the camera caught this baby catching skeleton shrimp, which were so small that I didn't even know they were there. According to Dan, frogfish season also coincides with a large skeleton shrimp hatching down the coast, providing frogs like this an ample food source. You can see this guy has that iconic lure on top of its head for hunting. But for now, he's just happy sitting around letting the shrimp buffet come to him.